Investors and traders, welcome to the channel Market Chart Pattern. Today is 12th of April 2025. Hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend. So we will take a look at the key US technology stocks for this video segment. As always, this video is for educational purposes only. It is not a financial advice. So let's start by taking a look at the stock of Google. So this is the weekly chart. And Google has done something really important. Of course, we know that the equity markets in the United States and also world over, they have been under a great deal of pressure over the course of last week or so, especially particularly the last couple of weeks. But we saw some important developments take place past week. And last Wednesday, we had a 2,700 points rally in Dow Jones Index. So something fundamentally is changing with regards to the tariffs, for example. But it also means that some of the stocks, and mainly the Magnificent Seven stocks, which have a pretty high weightage in some of the broad indices such as S&P 500 and of course in the nasdaq 100 index, they have actually been really oversold. But what was also happening was, while the markets were falling, they reached certain levels where they were kind of refusing to go lower, so which meant that the buying was coming in. I was watching them on a daily basis and also on closing basis as well. So with that, some of these stocks are actually making really key important patterns, and this is what we're going to discuss. So on the Google chart, what we see is something really interesting. So long-time subscribers will know that Google, moving into the 2024, although it was moving higher, was not one of my favorite stocks when it came to the pattern formation. And we had picked up this high in July 2024, and then I thought it was actually going to go and move lower. But then some news with regards to quantum computing chips, which they are making on, came out, or it was just generally the election year. So we did see another rally, which took us into the February of 2025, where the stock actually made a new all-time high. But what we were discussing was that the stock had the chances that it could retrace almost what it had done in the 2022 bear market, and this is exactly what the stock has done. So this is the market symmetry concept. You see that this is the decline of the entire 2022 bear market for the stock. And it took about 1 year for the stock to do that, and we have an equal move now. So let me put it right here. But it has just done it in a few weeks' time. So, this is how rapid the decline was, and the stock declined roughly about 32%. Now, on the weekly basis, the stock closed really strong. You can see that so many weeks, and we do not have any convincing bullish candle till last week, and the week it was up by 7.89%. But the important thing is that we completed this bearish symmetric pattern, and also we have a 50% retracement coming in from the lows of October 2022 to the highs of February 2025, and a 38.2% retracement from the lows of March 2020. So that is a pandemic lows going about 5 years. Hard to imagine it was 5 years ago when COVID broke out. And we have the structural support coming in as well, this part right here. So we have a confluence of a number of things: key Fibonacci retracements, bearish symmetric pattern, and then of course the structural support. And we have seen the stock respect these levels and closed higher. So that is something really important. Now, I would expect the stock to rally to at least about 38.2% retracement, maybe even higher to about $175 per share level. Around here, it could find some resistance, and after this kind of a decline with in short amount of time, the chances are the stock is likely to actually go range bound. In other words, accumulation. before it begins to move higher. Now the chances are it's a little bit early to say, but however, the chances are what I'm seeing in the overall markets, and I'll be doing a video about this. The markets, the broader indices, they have hit really key level which they have actually held the past week. And also we have got a put in the market coming in from the Fed, where some of the Fed members have come in and actually they have mentioned that the Fed is ready to support the markets. In other words, they are actually preparing behind the scenes with some sort of a liquidity to be injected. And then I am also watching the situation, what is happening in the US Treasury markets and some of the hedge funds which had actually been running a basis trade where they were actually operating in the repo markets. They were actually going and borrowing the money from there, and then they were putting it and buying treasury bonds, and then in the futures market they would actually short those and make some basis points. Anyway, that is for discussion for tomorrow, but I just want to point out that behind the scenes I believe there is a put which is coming into the market. In other words, liquidity probably even being injected past week, and that's where we also begin to see the broader indices begin to stabilize in some of these stocks. So with that respect, there is a chance that this important low, it might even possibly turn out to be the low of the year. That possibility is there. So we'll be watching these levels really closely. And if we just take a look at this on the daily chart, you can see that this is what it looks like. A really massive day last Wednesday. Dow was up like nearly 27,000 points, 2,700 points, and then this rallied right to the 20-day moving average and it's finding some resistance from there. Now another really key stock, let's actually watch Apple. Here we go. So the Apple, here we go, has been one stock which has actually seen fair amount of pressure, a lot of pressure actually come into it because of its supply chain, which is a major part of it is in China and India, meaning overseas. So those countries have been, some of them have been hit with massive tariffs, and India has also been hit with tariff, which means that their costs could be higher, but there is some development taking place with regards to that perhaps, and Apple has actually flown reading some of the articles 5 planes and where they have stocked up, so that is also something good. However, from the technical analysis perspective, it is actually completing these patterns. These are the daily patterns in the video that I did past week. I discussed these patterns, and the interesting thing is that look, these are being held for 1 2 days, 1 2 3 4 days. So this is showing that there is a pretty good support around here. So I would think that the Apple could rally up to at least 2 or 3 where it could find some resistance, but the chances are it's going to go and actually fill this gap in, and the gap will come around. There we go. So it's gonna be anywhere between 38.2% to 50%, and we have the gaps even up there as well. So let me actually, if I just copy and move it up there we go. So it's likely to go and test the point C, and again, as I discussed with the Google, this is an important low in Apple. Further downside 156, 155 if the cycle extends, but the chances are it's likely to consolidate right here. And I would think 203, 215 is kind of where it could go with find some greater resistance in this zone, and also 61.8% around 225 is the key level to watch, where we could find more further resistance. Getting above this, I think Apple begins to look pretty good, but it's a really important low, and the chances are the market is likely to hold these. Now let's take a look at this on the weekly chart as well. So here we go. This is the weekly chart. One thing I want to point out is this is the longer term trend line, which was connecting the October 2022 lows with the October 20 with the April of 2024 lows. And the market actually went lower, went right into this support region, and actually closed above this trend line, which is also a positive indication as Well, now the next stock, let's take a look at Tesla. Now, this is one of the stocks which has been hit pretty hard. Um, and what we have seen is stock down by about 56%, which is massive. However, what I also would like to point out is that this stock went down after completing our this major ABCD pattern. We were expecting 500 even. We got around to about 488 spot 54, so close enough. And now we have seen a big decline, but look at this trend line, it is still intact, and great deal of support around 200 level. But I believe, I think, based on the patterns that I am looking at, that Tesla is also going to rally from the here, because look at this, it's being held. But the important thing to also note is, look, this is about 56% decline, and then we had a 54% decline in this entire leg, and then this Tesla went higher. Here we had a bigger decline of about 76%, and it put in a big bottom. This is the bottom we were calling in. It's all archived of the channels. You can go and watch previous videos for Tesla. So around this region, I think there is pretty good support, which the stock is likely to hold. And if we just go to the daily chart and just want to point out, this is what I mean by good support. We have these number of these patterns around here. Look for after putting in a bottom around 11th of March, it was retested on a Monday, 7th of April, but the stock is range bound, so I think there is some accumulation which is taking place. So I would, if we just draw a retracement level, then I think the Tesla is likely to get into 318, which is going to be 38.2% retracement. So strong resistance between 38.2% and 50% retracement. So between 320 to 350, getting above this, the stock actually begins to look much better from a technical perspective. And then let's take a look at Meta. Here we go. So the Meta stock is really interesting because it completed this ABCD, not exactly to the tick, but we had good amount of support coming in. 78.6% retracement level from a low, 38.2% retracement as well. So we have a confluence of two ratios coming together, retracements, and then a pattern completion nearby, and we saw a strong move in the stock of Meta. Let's see how much in terms of percentage. About 22%, so that's massive. And then it went right into the 38.2% retracement, and also 61.8% of the CD leg, and 38.2 from this point A to the recent lows of 7th of April. And this is where the stock met some resistance, also coming from the 20-day moving average. It moved lower, getting right into the support zone, which is drawn in these shaded regions. So again, expectations are that this low is an important low, and the market is likely to be range bound. It's a pretty big range, and accumulation takes place. So this is on the daily chart, and if we move down to the weekly chart, here we go. Stock came down, and here it went right to the 89 period moving average, where it's also finding support from. And then the 38.2% is of course from the lows it had reached back in October of 2022, the recent all-time highs. And one thing I would like to point out is the stock is down about nearly 35% after completing this ABCD pattern that we had identified months and months in advance. So this just shows the power of these patterns. We saw this in Tesla, we are seeing this in Meta, also in Google, but the Google had an overshoot, and I think it just extended. And then so when these longer term cycles or these patterns are completing, then we should pay really close attention to. So this is what we are looking at in Meta. And then let's take a look at Amazon. So Amazon stock, it also completed its big ABCD. So you see so many of these Magnificent Seven stocks, they completed their ABCDs and they are down quite massively. It's down about 33%. But what is interesting to note is that it's also gone up and closed above this this trend line right here. And if we were to just draw a retracement level, this was about a 50% retracement from these lows of October of 2022 to the recent highs. And then I've not drawn the retracement from these key lows, but I think we are going to find a nice harmonic patterns coming in, so 61.8% nearby. And if we use this one more looks like more to be a 78.6% retracement. Let me actually draw it. Well, actually it went a little below that, but still there we go. So I think this low is really important, and the market is above the 200 week moving average. Moving down to the daily chart, here we go. 50% retracement. It did not have an ABCD pattern formation, which is something which you saw in Meta. And again, it had also nearly 20% rally after putting in a low on the 7th of April, which is in my opinion an important low. So again, this stock is also likely to be, in my opinion, range bound. In other words, more accumulation to take place. The longer it takes, the better it will be in terms of accumulation. And then getting above the 192, which is 38.2% retracement, like your target 202, getting above the swing point will be significant, and then we could be looking at higher prices. Last but not least, a really quick look on IBM, because IBM is a very important one. It's down about nearly 19 or nearly 20%, but it's also sitting at a confluence of 78.6% Fibonacci retracement, 50% retracement from these lows back here and these lows around here. So again, this is something that we need to pay close attention to as well, and it pays a really nice dividend as well. $1.67 is what IBM pays, so I think it pays to actually hold the stock as well. So this is what we are watching in these key magnificent 7 stocks, which I like to call the mega stocks, because these are Meta, Apple, Google, and Amazon. One I forgot is Netflix, so let's take a look at Netflix as well on the weekly chart. And here we go. So again, the story with Netflix is it also completed an ABCD, but this ABCD is like this, and the retracement was quite shallow for this one, but nonetheless, here we go, and we draw it like this. And then we had this 1.618 expansion of its entire bear market of 2022, and the market was not able to go higher from there, and it has retraced quite a bit, about 22 or 23% roughly. Here, one thing is there is still a chance it could come down a little bit lower, right to 788, which is the 38.2% retracement as well, and that's going to be a pretty strong support if it is able to do that. Again, quite nice close of 7.29%. So maybe it remains range bound, but there is a possibility if it ever comes down to this level, it's really strong support as well. So thank you very much for watching the video. Just one request, if you like our videos, then please do subscribe to the channel, and if you do, hit that bell icon button. That way you will know when the new videos are posted and you will not miss anything. And if you want to support the channel, then the link for the donation is in the description. I will really highly appreciate that, because there are some costs involved with regards to subscription. For example, for TradingView, it'll help the channel with that. And then of course I will be doing further research and bringing more and more charts and videos for you guys as well. So thank you very much for watching the video. Good luck, good trading, and speak to you guys soon.